everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me Anurgi, and today I'm very excited about the video that I'm gonna post because now I finally have this baby right here, the hardcover edition. Now I don't know if this is a good idea or not to post this video as a summary of the epilogue, but I know most of you all haven't bought the book and are not planning to, but are just curious to know what's gonna happen. So I thought, why not make a video about it? I really wanted to buy this because Verity is one of my favorite reads by Colleen Hoover, and like, I know people have a love-hate relationship with this book. Like, people either love it or they hate it. Okay. Spoiler alert, if you haven't read this book and are planning to read it, do not watch this video any further. So let me just get started with it. So the epilogue starts 6 months later to this incident, right? Jeremy and Lowen have now settled in North Carolina, right? They have crew and they have their newborn daughter Noah, which is like very lovely, and their life is going okay. Like, they're trying to keep a low profile because they want to stay away from as many people as possible, and they do not have like any direct contact to anyone who could basically link them to their past life. They're kind of started off anew, right? But basically what happens here is, like, on the surface level, if you might see, you might think that they're doing fine, but they're not, and that's what the whole epilogue is about, right? Now Lowen was a good wife, but during the whole time, her whole life with Jeremy, everything she did, she couldn't get Verity's manuscripts out of her mind. Like, she was just in such constant competition with Verity on a mental level that everything she did, she had to do it better. And like, every time they were in bed or every time they did anything, like, she would just remind herself of Verity's manuscripts, and she couldn't get them out of their head, and she knew she was being delusional, she was being crazy, but she couldn't help it. And she was just, you know, she would just think about it, like, if Verity was here, what would have happened? Oh, maybe Jeremy misses Verity, or what if he doesn't like me as much, or anything. Like, she just kept comparing herself to Verity, like, most of the time. And one evening they just planned to go to the beach, and, you know, like, Lowen was there lying on the mat along with her daughter, and crew was, you know, playing nearby, building sandcastles and everything, and Jeremy just had to go for a run. Now, this was one thing about Jeremy, like, since Verity died, he would just, you know, go on frequent runs every day. Like, he started off like every alternate day, and then it just went to going every day, sometimes even twice a day, right? It was, he would just say that it cleared his head. Now we know what's going on here, because, you know, no, Lowen is not the only one who's traumatized by that event. Jeremy is just as much affected, if not more, because she was his wife, for fuck's sake, and he killed his own wife. Okay, so if you've read Verity, you will know that, you know, Crew had some specific abnormal behavior in that book, right? He once chewed on that, you know, a knife, and he did a lot of abnormal stuff that a normal 4 to 5 year old kid will not do. Even in this part, like, you know, he's just doing a lot of not actually alarming, but a lot of abnormal behavior. So even when he's on the beach, you know, he's a little off with Noah. He doesn't really even like Lowen, and everything's just like that. But, you know, Lowen goes with it, but she makes a note to never trust Crew with anything. She loves him, but she does not trust him. And now, while this beach scene was going on, right, everything was just going fine. Then, you know, Lowen basically saw this woman, you know, walking a dog on the beach. Now, usually, you know, she just tries to stay as away from people as possible. That's why they usually come to the beach when it's, you know, the least populated and the most deserted. And, you know, this woman was just going by, everything was going fine, and she got a little alarmed by it, but she chose not to pay attention. Then this woman just, you know, came to Crew and started talking to him. And that's when, you know, a bell rang. Like, maybe it's someone they knew. So it was a little far away, so she couldn't even spot the woman. She came a little closer, she waved to her, and Lowen waved back, and then that woman basically came in closer, but Lowen couldn't recognize who it was. Meanwhile, this whole scene was going on. You know, Lowen even tried to locate Jeremy here and there, and she did, and Jeremy basically came rushing back when he saw the woman come to Lowen. Now, this woman basically tried to make some small talk with Lowen, but Lowen didn't recognize her. Then when Jeremy came in, he barged in basically, and he started talking to that woman. That's when she realized that she had met this woman in a grocery store before. This woman, she basically saw, you know, Noah, and she guessed that it was Jeremy's baby. And now the fact that they had fled away after Verity's death, obviously she had made some assumptions about that whole situation. And this woman, you know, let me tell you, was a typical chatterbox and not a person who stays in their own business. Like, this is someone who pokes their nose in everyone else's business. Jeremy basically tells Lowen to get up, take Crew and Noah, and get into the car, and he'll be right back. Lowen was a little concerned about what's gonna happen, but she did as she was told, because Jeremy was in a temper. Jeremy was, like, in a very bad mood at that time. So she followed his instructions, she went to the car, and she basically tried to see from the car, like, what was happening. And then she saw it. Basically, Jeremy pushed that woman into the sea, and he held her down until she drowned, and he left her there and came back. His clothes were dripping wet, and he just got into the car and They left, and on the way he just, held Lowen's hand and he said that we had to do it. And all Lowen could think about was like, you did it. I did nothing. Like, you killed Verity, you killed this woman, and I had nothing to do with it. I just witnessed 2 murders by you. Like, should I be concerned? Obviously she should be, but these were just intrusive thoughts according to her. She got home and Jeremy got showered and she tried to make it up to him. And now, at this point we basically realize that Lowen is low-key scared of Jeremy. Like, she loves him, she's obsessed with him, she's low-key obsessed with him the way Verity was, and now she's also scared of him because of the things he's done, and those are terrible things, like, and it's not like, and she's the only one who's seen Verity's letters. Like, we don't know for a fact, right, that Verity wasn't evil. Like, we do know, but still, in an alternate reality, like, there is some chance there. So she's typically haunted, she's typically traumatized, and she just had to do what a survivor should. She basically, fake sympathized with Jeremy and the whole thing, and she said even thank you for killing her, basically, to keep the family safe and everything. And obviously Jeremy was, he cooled off. And now basically while this making up scene is going on in their washroom, which is hot and steamy, by the way. Okay, so when they get back, and Lowen just goes to see Noah, like what she's up to, and she looks in her crib but Noah's not there, and that's when she screams, and Jeremy just goes rushing towards Crew and asks him where is Noah. And Crew is all like chilled out, and he's like, what are you talking about? I kept her outside. And they were like, what? Dude, what the fuck? And Crew was just like, she just kept crying and she wouldn't stop, and so I kept her outside. And they went outside and she was lying on the ground, like literal ground, and she was crying like no one had seen her before. And Lowen just went and picked her up and everything, and Jeremy was again in that I'm so sorry look, and he said like, I'm so sorry, she's just fine, like I'm so sorry, like it shouldn't happen again and everything. And Lowen came into the house crying and sobbing and everything. She she was just thinking about like how at night she sleeps with a man who's killed 2 women just because they were threats to him. She sleeps just near a 6 to 7 year old child who has seen more trauma than an 80-year-old has, and she herself keeps a scoreboard with a dead woman, and she's losing at that too, by the way, which makes her even more traumatized. So basically Verity died, but did she really die? Like, the after effects of her dying were not as good as they thought they'd be. Like, they wanted to start fresh and everything, but did she really go away? Because I think the story would have been way better if Verity was in the picture. My ratings for this whole thing, like, I loved the concept, and to be honest, it kind of made it more predictable, the ending and everything. But I kind of liked the way, this book ended. Like, it was in a complete mystery and utter this, like, mystery going on in your mind. Although this didn't spoil it. Like, if I was actually worried that this edition, might give a specific ending and it might spoil that whole Verity thing going on there. But it didn't, and I'm glad it didn't. Although it was quite obvious that, Verity was the cruel one and she was manipulating the truth. However, this book did not disappoint me at all, and like, look at how gorgeous it is. Like, I don't know, I do believe that it's just because that I waited for this book so long is why I was having such high expectations, though I really wanted not to keep any expectations at all. But you can't help but think about a book like Verity. So yeah, but I loved it, like, I think it's great. But it's not very necessary. Like, the book would have been just fine without this ending, because it was more mysterious in a way. Like, you never know what actually happened. Now we know that things went downhill. So yeah, let me know how you guys liked it. Was it just more of a spoiler, and should I post more videos like this? Because I don't know if I should. So yeah, let me know in the comments below how did you like it, and any other books you want me to make reviews about. I'm all in. Just drop your suggestions in the comments below, and well, yeah, see you next time.